In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for listening to the Android Experience podcast. This is a show where we keep you posted on what's new in the world of Google and Android and share our general experiences with the platform. This is episode number 14 on Thursday, April 21st, 2016. I'm your host, Patrick Virgadamo, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Todd Wright.
Hey, hey.
And Bill Stebbins.
I came back.
Woohoo! So for this month's show, first starting off with our What's Happening, talking about our high-profile app releases and updates. First thing is for all of our listeners who are using Project Fi, the Project Fi app now has a data usage widget, which I think can be helpful for those who want to try to keep their data down.
I'm still interested in Fi, but as a family, we use way too much data to pay by the gigabyte. So.
Mm-hmm.
For just a secondary phone, which is what I have my 6P for, it's perfect.
And I've actually thought about that because for roughly about the same I was paying for the T-Mobile line I had before, you're getting Sprint and T-Mobile service, and if it's your secondary one and you're mostly around Wi-Fi, you can kind of limit your data. In worst case, I can fire up the hotspot on my Verizon phone since I have unlimited data and use it for the data.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, I may have to go ahead and pull the trigger on it. I haven't really done it yet just because T-Mobile has actually got pretty good service here in Baton Rouge, down here in Louisiana. Sprint's gotten better now that they've really pushed out their LTE since they have the 2 bands of LTE, but it's still not as good as Verizon or AT&T down here. But, I mean, I think it's nice that they're giving you better ability to kind of monitor your data. Because this way, you're going to kick yourself if you go right over that extra gig instead of being able to get it paid back.
Yep.
So the next app that kind of has gotten an update is Microsoft's Translator app. We talked about this a while back, that Microsoft had kind of shown it off at, I think, what was it, last fall? They showed off some of the things they could do now with real-time translation and things of this sort. Well, they're finally adding to their Android app image translation, which is similar to what we already kind of have in Google Translate. It isn't quite as sophisticated in the sense where Google tries to replicate the text and the colors of the text and everything of that sort. It's pretty nice that Microsoft's giving the kind of effort to me. I guess I kind of like this side of this app because it's basically you point your phone at a screen that's in a foreign language and you can see what it says, which could be great if you're like traveling.
So it's like Word Lens?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
And they the lens and stuff had a lot of when they originally showed it off for the Windows Phone stuff, it looked pretty cool. I mean, they're bringing it to Android. I mean, it's still in its infancy now because they're just now bringing it to it. But the more competition there is on the platform, it's got to be good because that'll make Google have to step its game up too. The next one is, I don't know about you guys, if I'm trying to find out what's on, or like especially at the beginning of the fall when new shows, you hear about a show, but you're like, well, what channel and what time does it come on? And you search. Used to, if you were in Google search, you'd search and it would just direct you to like TV Guide or something else, and you had to go follow the links. Well, supposedly Google search is going to be bringing live TV listings as an inline search result, so that kind of like with the movie results, you'll be able to just see what that schedule is for the TV. I don't know about you guys, but I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Now the last app update, to me, this is my favorite because after I first used TeamViewer, I became hooked to it. It's my way of, instead of having to drive or wait till I go home to fix my mom's computer, I can just log in and take it over. Well, the app now for Android has brought Wake on LAN support as well as SD card support, which the Wake on LAN support's great for me because my mom's computer, if it ever required a reboot or she didn't have it fired up, I had to call her up or message her, tell her, please turn your computer on and log in so that I can fix whatever's wrong. Well, now I can just set in her BIOS to allow it to wake from LAN and be able to do it. The other nice thing is with the SD card support, you don't have to have the stuff saved on your actual device when you're doing remote access. You can now access stuff that you have saved on your SD cards to share or use in the app.
That is nice. And I was before I looked over the rest of the notes, I was actually putting TeamViewer in as my pick this week because I had the pleasure of getting a call from my mom last week. She had an iPad that used to belong to my grandmother that she somehow had locked it out.
Mm.
She was trying to reset it because she didn't remember the password or whatever. And so it was all locked up. She couldn't get it to work. I was trying to walk her through how to do it, and I had my Pixel C on my lap, so I have TeamViewer on her computer, so I just brought it up as she was working and got her to sign into her iTunes account. And after, I don't know why recovery mode on that thing is so hard, but it took like 10 minutes to get her to walk her through the right button combination, which she insisted she was doing.
Clearly you're not.
I'm like, Mom, are you sure you're pressing the home button and the power button at the same time? Yes. I know what they are. Okay, let's try it again. And after about 5 times, it was like, oh yeah, okay, now I am.
What was she pressing, the volume?
I don't know. I don't know, but we finally got it, and we got it reset, and she was happy at least for the day. So that was thanks to TeamViewer, because I could see exactly what she was doing on the screen. I could control it all. I didn't have to go drag my laptop out. It was perfect.
Yeah, I always tell my mom when I'm doing it, I'm like, please stop moving the mouse, because we're moving it back and forth.
Yeah.
But I can remember the first time I used it from a tablet with my Nexus 7, the 2013 version. My mom's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm taking over your computer.
Yeah.
I was like I said, I'm tired of trying to talk through this over the phone. Let me just do this. And it made it so much easier. Plus, I've used it before. Like, she's had issues. Apparently, her cable modem also has a built-in wireless router, and occasionally it will just completely reboot and kind of go back to factory settings. And so she's like, "How do I do this again?" I was like, "Just let me take over." But I can actually walk her through as I'm doing it, so that maybe at some point she'll know where it is. But it's nice to see what she's seeing and be able to control it. And the free app is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of waiting for them to decide they're going to charge everybody. I hope they don't, because it's a great app, and I found it because I was using LogMeIn, and then LogMeIn started pulling all those stupid shenanigans, and I found TeamViewer. I think Dave Valley actually recommended it a while back on the simulcast, and so I started using it, and they've just continued to evolve the app on the mobile platforms as well. I use it all the time just for we were supposed to be getting a speed upgrade here at the house from our internet provider, and so I would remote into my one Windows computer that's here and running just to check it, because I was hoping that it would go live early, and of course it went live last night at midnight or whatever. So.
Well, and if you think about it, with the ability to do like exactly what you're saying, I don't know if you remember this. It would have been about 03, 04 when Microsoft was pushing those smart displays for server access and the ability to kind of pick up the monitor would have be like a charging cable. You could pick it up, walk around, and use it with a touchscreen to kind of access your servers and switch between the different computers for remote access. You essentially have that now with TeamViewer, because you can have multiple computers you can log into. If you're using your tablet, essentially what you're doing is remoting into you can remote into that computer, server, whatever, and interact and use it. So essentially you get that without having to buy a fancy monitor from Microsoft.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it too. So I use it on a couple machines here at the house. So.
I was saying, so kind of moving into our top stories, the first one is we've gotten some confirmation from Google that 3D touch support will be in Android N. I'm curious to see if they actually call it 3D touch. But, I mean, if you think about it, to some degree, Android's always had the long versus the short press but pressure sensitivity has had, we've seen it before in other devices, so it's not like it's just Apple. So I mean, it makes sense to, if you're going to add more functionality, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but I'm still not 100% sold on it. I mean, as far as usefulness, some people swear by it, like on their iPhones, but I never could really.
I mean, I think it has its use cases, but I think having it there, and I think especially with Android, it'll be great because, as we've seen, if you have an open platform, more developers are able to find use cases that you don't even imagine because they have more free reign to kind of integrate that functionality into apps. So I think it'll be interesting. It's one of those kind of stay tuned, because you figure Apple is going to try to force their hand at some way to try to argue that they have patents and own everything about it, but it'll be interesting. The next big one, we talked about this in the past. Podcasts have finally gone live on Google Play Music, at least in Android and Chrome.
For some people.
Yeah. Oh, you still can't access yours?
Nope.
Really?
I don't know why, but yeah, it's not. Does it show on as a tab on the left?
It did earlier when I went, but
okay. Yeah, I don't have it yet.
Well, when I first did it, though, I don't think it was there. I did a search, and it just showed up as one of the categories for search results, and then eventually it popped up as a thing on the side. But I was actually listening to it last night. I think the only thing I have a problem with it on the mobile one, and I think it's kind of a problem sometimes with Google Music, Google Play Music, and all, is that once you're playing a podcast, you can't just exit out of that. You actually have to go through the settings and clear the current thing you're doing. Just like if you're listening to a station, you have to go in there and clear the current. I forget the word I'm trying to think of right now, but there's no easy way to just close it down and go to something else in the app. You have to. There's extra steps, which would make sense in the long term to maybe make that a little easier to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're putting it in there, but it's not going to pull me away from Pocket Casts, honestly.
Oh, no way.
I don't know who the audience is. Maybe it's just people who are kind of new to podcasts and don't really have a specific set of features that they want, like variable speed playback or auto download or any of 100,000 other things that Pocket Casts can do.
Yeah, and I think as long as, and I think the big thing with that too is like Pocket Cast or any other of your person's favorite podcast apps, they're made and geared specifically towards podcasts, so the functionality is better versus say Google Play Music, which is trying to do so many things that there's no way it's going to do everything as great, especially considering music is still their big thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed that on the newest update for Pocket Casts. I think it just came in here. There's a real easy way to add songs. I mean, Pocket podcasts to the up next thing. So on the play bar at the bottom, when you're playing a podcast, you can swipe to the left, and it gives you the option to go ahead and add other stuff to your playlist. I saw they tweeted out an animated GIF for that. So it works really well. And they update it quite frequently on Android, at least.
Yeah, I just noticed that too. That's pretty cool.
I will throw out there for those who do have podcasts live in their Google Play Music app, our podcast as well as the other podcasts on the TekSide Network are now active and live in the podcast.
It's pretty cool doing a search for my name and in the app and have it come up. And it'd actually be me and not some gospel singer that's evidently his name is Todd Wright too.
So you're now internet famous.
No. I am kind of, yeah.
But you're still not Bill the Internet Stebbins.
That's right.
Could be.
I'm trying.
And so our last big one, which is kind of leading us into what will probably be next month's main focus, Google I/O 2016. The schedule's now up, and we've kind of got a sampling of some of what the sessions are going to be. What kind of examples? A lot of things with Project Tango, and a lot of things with VR in the title. So I think if you're a VR fan, you have reason to be giddy.
Wait a minute, what is Google I/O? I mean, oh, that's right. That's the conference they don't want me to go to.
The conference.
Not that I'm bitter or
attended
anything. Not that I'm bitter. I'm sorry.
Let it out, Todd. Let it out.
But I mean, I do think we've talked about the Project Tango stuff before, where using the camera to kind of figure out where you're at and detect your position instead of using GPS, especially since a lot of devices seem to have really bad GPS problems unless they're connected to Wi-Fi.
Well, the consumer version of that's supposed to be out really soon, so I would think that they would be making a big push for that.
Yeah, and some examples, they have 6 Degree of Freedom gaming in Android with Project Tango, some Project Tango area learning, and then what's new at Project Tango. So apparently there's going to be a lot of Project Tango at Google I/O. But some other nice ones that are coming up. Android Audio has definitely got its own session. More things when Android for battery and memory optimizations. I think that's always going to be good that they show continued progress in that area. And then, as we said with VR in cinema, Google's vision for VR. So, I mean, I do think that's going to be VR is obviously going to be a big deal for Google going forward.
Well, actually, if you look, and I was looking at there's a Lenovo page where, they're supposed to be making the first Project Tango phone. They actually list augmented reality as being part of Project Tango. So, AR and VR, I think that's going to be the main focus at Google I/O.
And I think if you think about it, we had Google Cardboard, and we had all these Google Cardboard viewers, all the tie-ins like with the Star Wars, things of that sort, the Batcave tie-in they had for the Batman movie. I mean, I think it's clear that Google realizes that is a big deal for them and the people that use Android.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out, and I know you guys will be paying attention a lot to what goes on that. We'll have to that'll probably be our main focus for the next podcast after I/O. So kind of moving into our buy or sell, kind of see what you guys' takes are on things. The first one, kind of tying into what we've just been talking about, is that Android N is rumored to have native VR support. There's been some leaked screenshots and things showing essentially that shows Android N is going to have built-in VR support. I kind of buy it, given all the titles with VR for Google I/O.
I'm definitely a buy on this as well. Just to have it, native, built into the OS. I think will allow them to do some pretty cool stuff with it.
Yeah, I think with the extension of the Google Cardboard stuff, they're going to have to give it more native support to allow for more third-party application. So our next one, the NYPD's Chief of Intelligence, and I'll say that title is kind of questionable, has basically gone out on record that Google and Apple should censor encryption apps in their app markets, that they should go out of their way to keep their users from being able to have access to encryption apps to keep the police and law enforcement out of their devices.
Did he say anything about the ones that are built into the freaking phone to begin with?
Well, they already complained about that.
Well,
they're kind of the ones who are pushing Congress, along with the FBI, to prohibit or provide backdoors. I mean, I have problems with that. I mean, if it's can you say non-free market society if you have your heads of police departments telling private business to censor their stuff?
that's horrible.
We're not a fascist country.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We seem to be held on trying to become one. At least some people seem to be. So I think we can all say we sell that. The last one, Amazon Prime. I think all of us are annual subscribers, but they've now come out with some monthly subscriptions where you can kind of pick and choose your level of what you want and do it monthly. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, if you really look at it the way they're doing it by the month, it's much more expensive. But it might be easier for people to afford it per month than that one big fell swoop.
And oh, go ahead, Bill.
I was just going to say that it doesn't make sense for me. I don't know who would just subscribe like month to month, but I could. I thought it was kind of odd at first that they had just a video subscription for whatever it was, $8 something a month.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't use the music or the video or any of the other stuff that they give me. I just use the Amazon Prime shipping.
I actually use the video some. I don't use it as frequently as I would say Netflix,
Right.
but there are occasionally shows that only they have that I'll watch. I know for a long time they were the only one that had all the Stargates, and so it was an easy way to kind of log in and watch those. And before some of the other ones got it, they were the only ones who had like the old episodes of West Wing and then a lot of the PBS stuff. So for me, I do use the Prime Video. But yeah, the music, don't use it. I've used the backup stuff, the cloud stuff, once or twice just to back up a 3 terabyte drive I had that was going out. Because especially when I had to pay $5 and you got it for a year
Mm-hmm.
of the unlimited storage, and so for me, it's worth just having peace of mind of having a backup out there. Obviously, it's not as developed or as useful as say Dropbox or Drive, or even iCloud Drive for that matter, because it's not meant for readily sharing and access. It's just a good backup option out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm starting to get a little spoiled with Amazon because we just got same day shipping here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that I can order by, I think it's 11 or 12 o'clock in noon, and then I'll have it here that day, which pretty much means that I'm never going to go to a store ever again unless I absolutely have to.
Just wait till you get your drone ship.
Yeah. No, one of our neighbors would shoot the drone down. That happened not too far from here, so.
I mean, I think I could see the monthly subscription for the video stuff, because especially with them selling so many of those $50 Fire tablets, if you have someone who really doesn't shop a lot for the shipping but really wants the Prime Video access, it's a way for them to kind of have that on their they're meant to use it without having to go full Prime. Obviously, they're going to pay more if they just paid the $99, but I guess if you want to kind of limit yourself, and then I think a lot of people will forget when their Prime's renewing, and then once it's renewed, they'll just keep it, which I think Amazon relies on a lot. But having the monthly, if it's something you're testing out, you're using, and you don't decide you don't want it, you can easily deactivate it, and you're not, even though you could get the partial refund for the year, you're not basically going all in initially.
At the rate I'm going, I'm never going to have to pay for Prime again, because when they miss a delivery window, if you chat with them or call them, they give you a free month of Prime. And I think, honestly, I'm at 8 months free since the last time that I paid. So I'm probably never, if it keeps up, I'm just never going to have to pay for Prime again.
I'll have to say, knock on wood, I can only think of, say, one time I've ever had a missed delivery window on mine.
I don't think I ever have.
I've had one, and I think it was wholly the fact that it was Sunday delivered and it was post office, who sucks in the first place.
Yeah, they rely on the postal service around here for most of the deliveries, and I don't know what happens in the background, but sometimes the postal service doesn't even have it in their hands on the day that it's due.
Yeah. And I mean, for here, my problem is in an apartment. Sometimes my delivery, my postal delivery person they won't even make an attempt to deliver. They'll just stick a little thing in my box. But even if you went to the post office that day, they have it on their damn vehicle. Why would you even put it on the vehicle if you had never had an intention to try to deliver it? I mean, they wonder where they lose billions of dollars. Although I will say this, on average, the people they contract out to do the Sunday deliveries, on average, do a lot better than their normal weekly deliverers. So I guess there's something to knowing that you're getting paid more on their contract.
That's true.
It'll be interesting. I always cringe when I see something shipped and says USPS, and I'm like, oh. So kind of moving into our +1 and -1 picks for the panel. What you got for us, Todd?
Well, guys, I got some bad news this week. I've decided to switch platforms. I have bought myself a Trio 650. I am back on Palm OS, baby.
You calling Dinosaurs, huh?
What's that?
Does it work?
Yeah, it's like brand new too. It said it was new in box, which was a little bit of a stretch, but the phone is absolutely flawless. I put a SIM card in it. It works fine. It was $40 on eBay shipped. The dude shipped it it was here within 2 or 3 days. Yeah, it's pretty perfect. So I'm thinking about putting a SIM card in and using it for my main phone for a while just to see, because you get a lot of stories and articles on the web and stuff about people. Oh, I was an Android user and I switched to iOS, or I was an iOS user and I switched to Android. But you never hear of anybody saying, oh, well, I went back in time and I went back to Windows Mobile or Palm OS or Symbian or whatever. I think it would be interesting to see.
Usually there's good reason.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to switch back to the Evo, where it all started.
There you go.
The one with the big GBs.
Yeah, and the
GB.
The only problem is the battery won't hold a charge. But that's just a minor detail. Actually, it probably is holding a charge. It just sucked that bad.
There goes your same day. Delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun using it so far. The only thing is like the web browser that's built into it has a hard time with most websites.
So it's like Internet Explorer.
No, it's worse than that, but yeah, that's basically.
Good old Todd, you're going to be calling Dinosaurs.
That's right.
So, Bill, what you got for us?
This week, instead of picking TeamViewer, I have an app called Hermit. It is a kind of a light apps version of Facebook or Twitter. So I think it takes the mobile site and does a wrapper around it, but it gives you some cool options. And if you've ever used Facebook on your device, you know how horrible it is from the app perspective. It drains everything. It sucks your battery. It lags. It's just terrible. And Hermit kind of fixes most of that stuff by preventing it from doing a lot of stuff in the background. You have a lot more granular control over all the permissions. And I've been using it for a couple weeks, and it seems to be fine. I don't use it for Twitter. I just use it for Facebook, but it actually allows you to save a link on your home screen that looks just like Facebook. So when you launch it, it's got a material design theme, and it seems to work really well. I don't remember. I think it's free, and then you can do an in-app purchase if you want the material design skin and some other stuff. So definitely check that out if you're sick of the Facebook app, and it's definitely a junkie. The Facebook app is probably, I rank it. I don't know if it's above or below the SiriusXM app, but it's terrible. So this fixes at least that problem.
Hey Bill, do you know if they have a Palm OS version?
I don't know. Let me get out my Palm EOS and see if I can browse to the website and see. What was that? What was the tablet they had that Palm had?
Oh, the one that had all the sales all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
the one that was running WebOS, right?
Yeah, because Ching had one. You could load CyanogenMod on it.
The touchpad.
Yeah. Man, those were the days.
Yeah, that was right after HP bought them.
Yep.
It was the HP touchpad.
I actually sold mine to a guy that was working for HP at the time,
Huh.
so he could put Android on it.
Nice.
Good times.
So my pick this time, I'm basically copying Bell. It's the Pixel C.
Boom.
Use the discount we talked about last time. Sent it in, got the 25% discount. So I decided to go with the 64 gig version. And I literally am copying Bell because I also have the Moco case, which you recommended before too, Bill.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, it's a great case. The device is. It took a little getting used to because I was coming from a Nexus 9, so the size difference is enough that it took some getting used to. But once I started using it and didn't pick up the Nexus 9, the performance is fantastic on it. I mean, it doesn't slow down, it doesn't stutter, it doesn't do anything. I think if I had one complaint about it, the screen doesn't get dim enough by default.
Yeah. That's
really the only complaint I would have. Battery life's been killer for me. How about you?
Oh, mine's been amazing. I mean, I still charge it at night, but there's been times I could have probably gone way more than that. And that I do tend to dim mine just because even though it's real bright, I usually don't need it that bright, so I manually decrease it, and I still get great battery life on it. The only thing it's not so much the device. I've never really liked the whole volume slider thing ever since Lollipop. I hate that thing about switching. It switches to your priority and not instead of just giving me the volume bars and stuff. But other than that, the device, I love it. The case, it was interesting one time because I've got the one with the sleep awake with the magnetic. When it touched one time, when I flipped it back around the back, I guess the magnet, it thought it was connecting to the keyboard. So it came up with a pop-up about please connect your keyboard via Bluetooth.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, and you were talking about coming from the 9 to this one. I was going from iPad Mini
Oh.
to this. So I mean, and I'm just going, oh, I love the screen real estate.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because I don't really have a tablet right now unless you want to count the Surface Pro 4, but I'm
That's
definitely looking at getting a what?
I said that's a computer.
Well, I'm definitely looking at getting an Android tablet. I'll definitely wait until after Google I/O to see what happens, but the Pixel C is #1 on my list right now. Definitely. Is that discount that they were given for the developers, is that a permanent discount or is that just for such a?
I think mine it said you could use it till June or July.
Yeah,
So
you may want to just go out and grab one.
Yeah, just go to the website I think it was on our show notes from last month.
Yeah,
and sign up. I got mine I didn't even realize I got it because I think it went to like the promotion tab instead of my inbox, and so I went back and go, oh, buy. It became an impulse at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Now, one thing I think once N gets here and is the official version, I'm looking forward to the multi-window support because I find myself wanting to watch YouTube videos and surf the internet at the same time.
Yeah.
Can't currently do that, but once I can, that's going to be pretty insane. You can already do things like on Dice Player, you can play a video or whatever and have that float. But once we get multi-window support officially, then that'll be really, really nice because there's plenty of real estate.
So the comment I was gonna make about what I'd like on this device kind of goes into our listener feedback question, so I figure we'll just go there. So this came from Clay Russell, and I don't know if he got it from someone else or not because he just gave it to us. Taking all of the flagship devices of today and all your favorite Android devices of the past and build your perfect Android device. What parts would you take from which devices, hardware and software?
That's an interesting question.
That's what I told him.
I think from a hardware perspective, I would like to see. I like me personally. I like the design of the 6P. I like the way it feels in the hand. I like the way it sits on the desk. Blah blah blah. I would like to see that with the fingerprint sensor on the back, but made it up somehow with a curved screen, like from the Nexus S. I love the way that screen was curved. And then take like a Galaxy S7 camera, since it's very quick to focus and do all the great stuff that we needed to do. Battery life of the OnePlus One, the original one. And then I would want stock Android, obviously.
Yeah, gotta have that.
Yeah, but and USB-C would be fine, but I would want wireless charging as well, even though it's not fast by today's standards. It's still very convenient, and I think that's about it. I'm fine with a screen like what's in the 6P. I wouldn't really, LCD, AMOLED, whatever works. I like mine slightly oversaturated, so I'd be okay.
So what about you, Todd?
I've got it right here. That's why I bought that Trio 650. No, so I've been rocking this S7 Edge for at least like 20 hours now. I did my jump on demand from the S7 to the S7 Edge, and it's pretty nice. Basically, I would like this thing with stock Android on it.
Like a Google Play experience device?
Yeah. With it would be nice if they would make the phone a little easier to get into to replace the battery. Not that I need an easily swappable battery, but just in case something ever happened to the battery, it went bad or whatever, I wouldn't have to.
It's not going to go bad in the 3 months you're going to have that device.
Well, maybe not. But
I think you're.
Maybe that's why I go through so many phones. I'm paranoid that the batteries are going to wear out, and I just get a new phone.
Yeah.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I think for me, I can think of two devices I'd create because I'd want a tablet and then I'd want a phone. From a phone standpoint, I think I honestly like the build quality of the Nexus 4. I really like that, but I think it would be cool if we kind of modernized it with a bigger device and thinner. But those materials would be really cool with the wireless charging. Because I think I like the way its edges were. It wasn't quite the edge like the S7 Edge type edge, but it was still the smooth all the way to the ends for the bezel, and I really liked the way that phone felt because the glass and glass. It felt like a premium device, but I could imagine that device with the fingerprint scanner on the back, like from the 6P.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Bill, I think the S7 camera, maybe with some of the more enhanced optical image stabilization stuff the LG cameras tend to have. From a tablet standpoint, I really liked my Nexus 7, although I like the size of this Pixel C and the material it's made of. I wouldn't mind having it have wireless charging with the quick charging for plug. I don't mind the USB-C, kind of like you said. I don't mind that. One thing I'd like to see the Nexus tablets maybe from stock Android adopt is some kind of device, even if it's not built in, like the S Pen, because I think this Pixel C would be awesome if it had like an S Pen type stylus for doing stuff. Because I mean, this thing would like whoop the hell out of the iPad Pro. That's like the one thing, if it had that natively built for access, would be amazing. And I mean, to me, that's the one thing like this size of a tablet needs is. I don't want to use a capacitive stylus or something. I'd like something that's like S Pen where it's built in to integrate. And this device has got plenty of room where they could have built a place to slide one of those in. It'd be pretty cool. I mean, even if nothing else, I've always said I wouldn't mind even like the Note tablets if you could get it with stock Android.
That'd be nice. What about a resistive stylus?
I can't believe nobody said they wanted the trackpad, the trackball out of like the Nexus 1.
Or the Hero?
Yeah. Nobody wants that?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Of course,
It
you can
looks
also
pretty
go
cool. I mean, I'm not
do
going
an
to diss it.
optical
It's just,
trackpad like the Aris. But no, to me, the trackpad just gets in the way. But I do think the material design of this the Nexus 4 was really nice.
Yeah, I agree.
So hopefully that answers your question, Clay, or whoever you asked it on behalf.
he's just
So-
jealous. It's him. Let's just
He wants to,
say it right now.
he's already asked me and Bill to be here for when the next note comes out.
Clay just messaged us. Don't forget my question.
Yeah, his question.
What question is that? What are you talking about? Who is this?
Somebody should remind Clay we only answer questions when we get drunk voicemails, or maybe that's only when he was calling into the simulcast.
He just sent it to us again. Thanks, Dad.
So moving on from that, on how to reach us, let everybody know where they can reach the Android Experience crew. Todd, how can they reach you?
You can reach me easiest by going to Todd W on Twitter.
You can find me at Bill Stebbins or BillStebbins.com.
And you can find me at a handle LSU Law 2009 on Twitter, and occasionally on the Tech Talk podcast alongside, obviously, Bill and Todd here at the Android Experience podcast. So in closing, you can find us by simply searching for Android Experience or TekSide in your podcast client of choice, or you can subscribe to the show in Google Play Music or in iTunes. Please take the time to leave us a review and comment. Alternatively, we have another link for our non-Google Play Music and iTunes listeners, which you can find right here in our show notes. We also have a Patreon page. This gives our dedicated and loyal listeners an opportunity to support the podcast, as well as the other TekSide Network shows, for as little as $1 a month. If you would like to support us, visit our support page at patreon.com/TekSide. Leave us a comment on Twitter at AXPPodcast, or email the network at axp@tekside.net. You can also check out our website at tekside.net/AXP. And also be sure to check out our other great podcasts, blogs, photo galleries, and the TekSide store on tekside.net. We thank you all for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Good night.
Good night.